At the southernmost tip of Africa lies a nation unlike any other, a land of breathtaking beauty, a land where ancient traditions still live.
A land where kingdoms rose and fell, a land that endured oppression, survived hardship, and inspired the world. But before South Africa became a country, before cities, governments, and borders, before history was written, this land was already shaping the story of humanity itself. Welcome to Hidden Truth Diaries. Today, we begin an extraordinary journey through the history, culture, traditions, and hidden truths of South Africa. This is not just the story of a nation. This is the story of a people reconnecting with their roots.
Scientists have discovered remarkable evidence suggesting that Southern Africa played an important role in the story of human evolution. Fossils found in the region reveal ancient
relatives of modern humans who lived hundreds of thousands and even millions of years ago. Long before cities, kingdoms, or empires, human ancestors survived here. They hunted, gathered food, learned to work together, and gradually developed the skills that would shape civilization.
Life was not easy. Ancient communities faced droughts, predators, and unpredictable weather. They passed knowledge from generation to generation.
They became legendary trackers. Their understanding of the natural world was extraordinary. Across southern Africa, thousands of rock paintings still survive. These masterpieces reveal
a world of spirituality, storytelling, and tradition. They depict animals, ceremonies, hunting scenes, and beliefs passed through generations. They remain among humanity's greatest artistic treasures.
Alongside the San lived another remarkable people, the Khoikhoi. Unlike hunters and gatherers,
the Khoikhoi relied heavily on livestock. Their cattle represented wealth, status, and survival. Their communities developed traditions that would influence generations.
South Africa's geography helped shape its destiny. Towering mountains guarded valleys, rivers
nourished communities, oceans connected distant worlds, wildlife thrived in abundance. This was a land capable of sustaining life on an extraordinary scale.
Over time, farming communities expanded across southern Africa. They cultivated crops,
raised livestock, developed ironworking skills, built larger settlements. New languages and traditions spread throughout the region. The foundations of future kingdoms were being laid.
By the time the outside world would eventually arrive, South Africa was already home to thriving societies. Rich traditions, skilled leaders, complex cultures, and growing kingdoms.
But beyond the horizon, change was approaching. Ships were sailing across distant oceans.
Before colonization, before written history, we discovered the San, the Khoikhoi
contingents, and the earliest communities that called this land home. But South Africa's story was only beginning. Across the region, powerful kingdoms would rise, great leaders would emerge, rich traditions would flourish, and cultures that still define South Africa today would take shape.
Over many centuries, farming communities gradually moved southward through Africa. They brought new technologies, new languages, cadence, and new ways of organizing society. These communities would become the ancestors of many of South Africa's modern ethnic groups.
They established villages, cultivated crops, and raised cattle. Their arrival transformed the region for South Africans.
In many African societies, cattle were far more than animals. They represented wealth, security, respect. A man with many...
Cattle are not just animals, they are our story. They are a true sign of success and a legacy.
Before books became common, history lived in memory. Elders passed stories from one generation to another. Heroes, battles, traditions, and wisdom were preserved through oral storytelling.
Music was never just entertainment. It was communication, celebration, spiritual expression, history. Communities sang during weddings, harvest festivals, ceremonies and important gatherings.
Many communities believed that ancestors continued to watch over the living.
Ancestors were respected as guides. Families often performed ceremonies to honor them.
Spiritual traditions helped maintain social harmony and cultural identity. These beliefs remain important to many people today.
As populations grew, villages expanded, leaders emerged, communities united under chiefs and councils. Rules were established, disputes were resolved, trade
increased. Strong leadership helped societies prosper.
Among the many communities that developed in southern Africa were the ancestors of the Zulu people.
At first, they were one of several smaller groups living in the region. Few could have imagined that they would later build one of Africa's most famous kingdoms.
Long before European ships arrived, African communities traded with one another. Goods moved across great distances. Ideas spread. Skills were shared. South Africa was part of a connected through trade, culture, and human relationships.
The foundations had been laid. Kingdoms were growing. Traditions were flourishing. Communities were becoming...
But a leader would soon emerge. A leader whose name would echo throughout history. A warrior. A nation builder.
His name was Shaka Zulu, and his rise would change Southern Africa forever. And the legends that still surround his name today. Before Shaka's birth, the Zulu were not a large kingdom. They were a small community among many others in the region. Life centered around cattle, family, and
farming and local leadership. No one could have predicted that this small community would one day become one of Africa's most powerful kingdoms.
Shaka was born around the late 18th century. His early life was difficult. According to traditional accounts, he and his mother faced rejection and hardship. These experiences would shape his character. They would
As Shaka grew older, he developed exceptional military abilities. He observed carefully, learned quickly, and earned respect through discipline and courage. His talents attracted attention from powerful leaders in the region.
Shaka introduced significant military reforms. He emphasized discipline,
intensive training, and coordinated battlefield tactics. Warriors trained rigorously. Units moved with remarkable precision.
Under Shaka's leadership, the Zulu kingdom expanded dramatically. Alliances were formed.
Rivalries intensified. Communities were drawn into larger political structures. The balance of power across southern Africa began to change.
Over time, stories about Shaka spread across the region. Some portrayed him as a brilliant strategist. Others described him as a feared ruler. Historians continue to debate aspects of these accounts. But one fact remains clear. His impact on Southern African history was profound.
The rise of the Zulu kingdom occurred during a period of significant regional change. Communities adapted to
shifting political realities. New alliances emerged. Old rivalries evolved. Southern Africa was entering a new era. While African kingdoms were growing, another story was unfolding beyond the horizon. European powers were expanding their influence across oceans.
Trade routes were changing the world. Explorers, merchants, and colonists were moving into new regions. Southern Africa would soon become part of that global transformation.
For centuries, South Africa's peoples had built cultures, traditions, and kingdoms of their own. But now, foreign ships were arriving. New ideas, new opportunities, new conflicts.
The age of colonization was about to begin, and South Africa would never be the same again.
Africa. By the late 1400s, Europe was searching for new routes to Asia. Spices, silk, gold, and trade opportunities. By the late 1400s, Europe was searching for new routes to Asia. Spices, silk, gold, and trade
opportunities drove powerful kingdoms to explore unknown waters. Ships sailed farther than ever before. Navigators risked storms, shipwrecks, and uncertainty. And eventually, their journeys would bring them to the southern tip of Africa. In 1488, Bartolomeo Diaz circumnavigated the southern tip of Africa. His voyage proved that a sea route connected Europe to Asia. Other explorers followed in his wake. Fresh water, food, repairs, and safe anchorage. The Cape offered all of these. What began as a stopping point would soon become something much larger.
In 1652, the Dutch East India Company established a permanent settlement at the Cape. Leading the expedition was Jan van Riebeck. At first, the settlement was small.
The Cape was not empty. Indigenous communities had lived there for generations. The Khoikhoi and San already knew the land. Initially, trade occurred between settlers and local communities. Livestock was exchanged, goods were traded. But tensions soon emerged. Competition over land and resources increased. As the colony grew, settlers demanded more land. Farms expanded outward. Traditional grazing territories changed. Indigenous communities faced increasing pressure. These developments created conflicts that would shape the future of South Africa.
Labor shortages led colonial authorities to bring enslaved people from various regions. Families were separated. Lives were changed forever.
Over generations, people from different backgrounds contributed to the development of South African society.
Their cultures, languages, and traditions became part of the nation's identity.